All right, hello class. My name is Brian Murphy and I am your English professor this semester. This is the syllabus video for English 1101, section number 25546. This is an asynchronous online class, which means that we don't have any sort of virtual meeting. You do all the assignments on your own. If you need to get in contact with me, the best way to do it then is through my email. That's brian.murphy@wescatech.edu. I do have an office with office hours on the Carroll campus. I'm in the front building in 207R. The office phone number, which I will answer if I'm in the office, is 770-838-3137. Currently, my office hours are Monday, Wednesday from 1 to 3, and Tuesday, Thursday from 1 to 4. But if you need to meet with me in my office or by video conference during that time, if you would please let me know by email that you intend to make an appointment or to come by, and I will make sure that I'm available for you. So my preferred method of contact is email. And when you email, please include your name and the CRN of the course. That is 25546, so that I know which class you're in and I don't have to look through all the rosters to try to find your name. So this is English 1101. This means that we're going to be doing composition and rhetoric. We're going to be learning how to write essays and use rhetorical strategies and format essays and do research and all of that fun stuff for college. The good news is that we don't require that you buy any textbooks, which I'm sure you're relieved about. Everything is available to you in PDF form in the actual course itself. So this section right here, this instructor-specific syllabus policies, these are my personal syllabus policies, and I encourage you to read over them in great detail before you take the syllabus quiz. Most of what is on the syllabus quiz will be either about the instructor-specific syllabus policies, or it will be about my contact information and that sort of thing. It's very important that you know the syllabus policies because the syllabus is a binding contract between you and your instructor. So if you know the policies, then they could work to your advantage and you won't get caught off guard with anything. So the first policy that I have written here, and I won't read this word for word, I'll summarize it and you can read it on your own. But plagiarism and academic misconduct. So I have a zero tolerance for plagiarism or cheating or academic misconduct of any kind. And there are varying penalties depending on what kind of plagiarism it is and that sort of thing. So any sort of cheating on a quiz or copying someone else's work on a quiz or a discussion or something like that, what I would call classical plagiarism, misrepresenting your material, quoting something from online and not quoting the source. Any sort of standard plagiarism issue is going to get a 0 on the assignment. Okay, so that's pretty severe. If you plagiarize an essay, for example, each of the 3 essays are worth 20%. So the highest you could get in the event of a case of plagiarism on an essay is an 80 in the class, and that's not good. So any kind of cheating, any kind of plagiarism, any sort of thing on a regular assignment or a major writing assignment is an automatic 0 on the assignment. However, there is a penalty that is more severe regarding a different kind of plagiarism. So if it is found that you submit an assignment that contains content generated by an AI program, such as ChatGPT or something similar, you get an automatic F in the course regardless of the assignment. It doesn't matter if it's a discussion board, which is a very minuscule assignment by comparison. If you use AI to generate content for your assignments, you will get an F in the course without question. That policy is supported by the Dean of Students currently. It's not universal. It's my own policy. And the reason that I have it in there is not to be overly punitive, but you must understand that in my present situation, we are dealing with AI all the time, every day. And more as we get into, as the word gets out and more students know about this technology, my job is moving away from the realm of instruction. And I'm sort of becoming this like detective where I have to like prove AI. I do refer to myself as an AI sniffing dog as kind of a joke, but not really. I'm very good at telling it. And you may understand this if you have social media, for example. and you see an AI generated image, it usually isn't difficult to tell that it's an AI generated image. If you know what you're looking for, you can tell it very easily. The same is true for essays and writing assignments and things like that. There's a whole process whereby I prove the AI, which I have detailed in part in the next clause, the AI software warning. But if it is found that you have used AI to generate your essays and your assignments, you will fail the course. So I'm hoping that this draconian policy will keep you all from the temptation. In the event that you were able to trick me and get an AI past me, which if it has happened, I certainly don't know about it. Um, if you manage to do that, you must realize you will probably not pass the essay anyway, because the AI is not actually intelligent. It is a language model, which means it can only resemble human speech and human thought. The way that my essays are structured, you will have to actually think like a human in order to do well on them. So it's not in your best interest just for that. You won't pass. But even if you do trick me, right, you won't pass. But also you will fail the course if you are caught. And I don't really care how much of the essay, even if it's a portion of the essay. Anything that is generated by AI will be dealt with accordingly. This is the AI software warning. It sort of explains how I find the AI stuff. I use detection software. I use student writing samples that are taken in controlled settings, and I use student corroboration. And there are a couple of other tricks that I know and little giveaways that I'm not going to necessarily tell you unless we end up in that situation. But there are ways. I have to make a case, but I will prove it if I suspect it. And if you are found to have used AI, you will receive an F in the course. My preferred communication is email, brian.murphy@westcatech.edu. Please use this email primarily over all forms of communication, especially Blackboard messaging system. Do not use Blackboard messaging system. If you have been using it to try to reach me and I haven't answered, that's because I don't check it. It's way too clunky, and it has come down the pipe from the people who run the IT here at West Georgia Tech that we're not even using it anymore. So please use email. And when you send me an email, that brings me to the email etiquette clause. Please try to be respectful. Use a title. You can call me Instructor Murphy. You can call me Professor Murphy. You can call me Mr. Murphy. Do not call me Brian. Do not send me, hey, I saw this, right? Try to be formal and cordial. The reason that is because I'm your composition professor. It's my job to teach you how to be formal and how to compose emails and things of that nature. So it's a good way to practice. And also it's just respectful. I'm tired of 3 a.m. Hey, Brian. Okay, maybe not. You don't know me that well, right? It's not to say that I'm not approachable, but the next one is the Dropbox policy. So for all major writing assignments, you have to submit them to the Safe Assign Dropbox. Even if you have technological problems, they have to go through the Dropbox. You have to fix those problems. So sometimes a student will be trying to submit an essay before the due date, and they'll be freaking out because they're getting an error message, and they'll say, I can't submit it, but I did it on time. If you send me a screenshot of the problem with a file of the essay attached, I will waive the late penalty for essays as long as you get it into the Dropbox within 48 hours. If it doesn't go into the Dropbox, it doesn't get graded. So I have students that will send me an essay by email and they think that's enough. It's not. I need the Safe Assign Dropbox because I need it to check for plagiarism. It has a plagiarism check service on it. So I need that, and I need you to use the Dropbox for that. Also, save it as a Word file, upload it as a Word file. And this leads me to the next one, file conversion glitches. So if you write an essay in Google Docs and then you save it to a Word file, a lot of times what happens is things get changed around during the saving process. For some reason, the software is not entirely compatible and things go awry. And if I don't know that you didn't mean to do those things, because how could I know? You'll get points taken off because you wrote something in you wrote something in Google Docs and then saved it as a Word file. You have access to Microsoft Word through your Outlook, through the school, your Office suite through the school. So you can use Microsoft Word and you don't have to pay for it. Write it in Word, save it in Word, submit it in Word, and you will have a much easier time. This is important because I know that there are several students out there who probably use Grammarly. And I'm not really against Grammarly on a personal level, but there is an issue with Grammarly. So Grammarly basically uses AI software to help you edit your writing. And that's lovely for everyday things. But the problem with it is that since it is an AI, when I run it through AI detection, it will generate a false positive, meaning it will say that you used ChatGPT or something similar to generate your essay when actually you just edited it with Grammarly, but the computer impressed so much upon your own writing that it got flagged for AI. So, to make a long story short, if you use Grammarly and you get flagged for AI, I will not make a distinction between that and ChatGPT. Okay. The reason being is if the moment that I allow for Grammarly to be a loophole whereby AI detection can be ignored is the moment that every AI detection becomes Grammarly, right? Students will just say, "Oh, I used Grammarly," and expect that to be a sort of a way out of it. So if you're using Grammarly, you might want to disable it for this semester. I'm not going to say don't use it. I think it's probably unwise because if you get the detection, I'm not going to make a distinction. I'm just going to fail it and fail you the same way. So if you're using Grammarly or any similar writing enhancement software, editing software, my advice to you is to disable that for the duration of this semester. Just because you don't want to get in a situation where you're being accused of using ChatGPT and you didn't, but because the receipts are there, I have to treat it the same. The next one is the feedback policy. So I can give you feedback, but you have to give me time. You have to either come see me during office hours or email me well in advance in order to get feedback. And even then, the feedback I give is not going to be fixing every little issue with your essay. I'll give you general feedback like, hey, I noticed your MLA formatting is a little off. Or, hey, I noticed you have an issue with comma splices. But you're not going to get me going through with a red pen and fixing everything. And you have to do that with at least a week in advance, if not more, if you want real feedback. The next one is the student accountability policy. So this is an online course, which means I am supposed to email you every week and let you know what the assignments are. But in the event that I forget, happens to the best of us, you are agreeing with the student accountability policy that your education is your own responsibility, meaning the due dates are on the syllabus. They have been on the syllabus since the start of the semester, so there's no excuse for you not to know them. If I forget to remind you of an assignment that is coming up, that does not mean the assignment is not due. You agree to communicate effectively with me about issues that you may have regarding late work or whatever, or any kind of thing that comes up, and you agree to check the syllabus schedule on a weekly basis so that you know what is due for a grade. The student accountability policy goes in with the student independence clause. This basically says that you will not use me to think for you, meaning, well, I'll just give you the example. So I had a semester ago, I had a student email me asking me, hey, what do we write about for Essay 2? Now, that may seem like a benign question, but the issue is that there is an assignment sheet that's in Blackboard that you could just open up, which details in great, extensive detail what assignment 2 is about. And the student in question was simply, I guess, didn't want to log into Blackboard. That was too much effort. Didn't want to read the assignment sheet, wanted me to just paraphrase or summarize it for them. So you agree to exhaust all means of figuring out the answer for yourself before you ask me a question. And if you ask me a question, especially about an essay or something, it needs to be a very targeted question. You need to say, hey, I didn't understand what you meant by a solution-based approach to this problem. Can you clarify that? If you just send me an email asking me, hey, what do we do for essay 1? I'm going to send you an email back that says, read the assignment sheet. So you are independent. You can handle it. You can Google things for yourself. If you get in a situation and you're having a problem, try to figure it out on your own. Not to say that you shouldn't email me if you are having problems. You definitely should. But the assumption is that you have exhausted other means of figuring out the answer before you email me. The next one is dual enrollment clause. If you're a dual enrollment student, you will be treated exactly like any other college student. There's no extension, exclusion, or leniency of any kind for dual enrollment students. If you have extracurriculars, you are expected to balance those. Since we don't actually meet in person, there's really no reason to miss assignments for extracurriculars and things like that. So you will not be treated any differently. Competitive selection. So if you are a competitive selection person, meaning if you're in dental hygiene or radiation technology or nursing or one of those other fields that has competitive selection, meaning that this selects students based on the highest grade point averages, you should understand that there's nothing about having taken this class once before and getting a B that means that you can take it again and I will have to give you an A. Students will come in at their competitive selection. I have to get an A in this class. I have to get an A. I took it once before and I got a B and I have to get an A. If you have to get an A, then get one. I do not give A's away. I don't know anyone that does. I don't give A's out of sympathy for having taken a class before or whatever. You are expected to meet the standards just like everyone else. And if you want an A, then you should earn it. The next one is recycling work from other classes. If you have taken an 1101 before and you didn't make it through or you had to drop or whatever the issue is, you should know that you should not recycle any work from previous classes. Not only from previous 1101 classes, but any other class you may have taken, like a high school. Let's say you wrote on George Orwell in high school. You cannot recycle any of that material for this class. You should treat each assignment as a new and unique assignment. Computer use during lectures doesn't really apply to you guys since you're online. Issues with Chromebooks and other devices. So if you rely on a Chromebook, a Mac of some sort, or a smartphone, you may run into problems. And I say may because sometimes I have a student who will use a Chromebook the whole semester and run into no problems. And then I have other students who use a different model of Chromebook and all they have is problems. So I'm not going to say that you're doomed if you have a Chromebook, but you should be on the lookout for issues. And if you notice you're having issues, then you need to procure an alternative device to do your homework on. This could be a laptop, a desktop. You can come to the school and use one of the computers in the school, whatever it is. But if you rely on one of those things and you start having issues, that is on you to fix it. And you should be aware that those issues do exist. Also, there generally can be issues with web browsers. The web browsers that are the least buggy are Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. Content advisor. So we are going to read some things, and I've got some lecture videos going over some stuff. The videos that I've recorded are a little bit out of date, just to let you know, but I'm working on redoing them all over time. But you will be exposed to some literary content, some stuff you're going to read, some of which you may find disturbing, graphic, or offensive. I welcome a wide array of opinions in class discussion and email and correspondence and things like that, but I'm not going to dismiss any content or assignment on the basis of moral or personal objection. So no one will be able to say, hey, I disagree with this. Can I write on something else or can I read something else? No, you cannot. You can take a 0 or not. Those are your choices. I'm telling you this up front, not because I'm a jerk, but because I want you to know that in English class in college, the likelihood that you will encounter nothing that ruffles you is very low. You should be in the mindset that this is going to happen and that you are a mature adult who can handle disagreement and can handle a certain level of offense or whatever without resulting to demanding a different assignment. Disruptive behavior, again, not really a problem with online students. Just don't be a jerk in your emails. That's really that. If we shift online, again, not relevant. We already are online. The course materials in Blackboard. So I've done my best to clean up Blackboard for you guys, but it could be that something gets through and I didn't detect it. It could be that there's some assignment that I forgot to erase or something like that. So if you notice a discrepancy on Blackboard, an assignment that you didn't see on the syllabus, go by the syllabus. The syllabus is law. If the assignment is not on the syllabus schedule, it is not due. And even if I meant to make it due, if it's not on the schedule and I haven't given you enough time in advance, haven't updated the syllabus in advance with enough time for you to actually complete the assignment, then it isn't due. So I do have students who will see certain assignments sometimes and they'll go, oh no, is this due? What do I do? If it's not on the schedule, it isn't due. Just use the syllabus schedule. That's the best course of action. I have put all the dates in the computer, but Blackboard is very complicated and it could be that something got by me. Attendance policy, you should log in weekly. Assignments generally are due Sunday, but you should log in weekly. And if you don't, you're probably going to, get lousy grades because there generally are assignments due every week. So if you decide that you don't want to log in one week, you can pretty much guarantee that you've missed something. So that, since we don't actually have attendance, I would say that is the attendance policy. Late work policy is quizzes, discussions, and other assignments can only be made up with a credible absence or excuse. So if you miss an assignment, you have to have a reason for missing it that is credible, meaning emergencies or major life events. So illness, funeral, sick relatives, automobile accident, etc. Documentation verifying an excused absence is required. If a student has extracurricular activities, either through their high school or West Georgia Tech, those conflicts must be communicated in advance in order to be considered excused. So if you have a basketball game and you're going to miss the date of the essay, you need to come to me and tell me that. And if it's enough time you're going to miss, we might be able to work out a day or two. But if you tell me after the fact, or if you miss a deadline and say, "Oh, I couldn't hand it in because I was X and Y," that doesn't count as an excused absence. Also, work, anything related to work or car trouble or not having a ride. Of course, that's not relevant in an online class, but those kinds of things do not count as excused absences. Everybody works. You're expected to balance your work with school, and you're expected to prioritize school to the extent that you can pass the class. So anytime that happens, that's up to you to decide. The only thing that I take late without a excuse is essays. The word essay and major writing assignments are synonymous. I'm referring to the same thing. So if the major essays, of which there are three, you get 5 points per day deducted that they are late, which is fairly generous by comparison. So that one you can do. You can hand it in late if you want. The rest of them, you have to have an excuse. Pop quizzes. This goes for I reserve the right to create pop quizzes and other assignments if I see fit. I really don't think that will apply to an online class, but I reserve that right. Late to class doesn't apply. Technical difficulties. I have no control over your Blackboard, banner, email, internet, or anything else. The only thing I can affect is whether or not you can see an assignment or things in the grade book and stuff like that. I can't help you with your login. I can't help you with if you can't see the course or whatever problem may arise. So if you run into a technical problem, it is your responsibility to resolve that problem through the West Georgia Tech website, through the help desk ticket. If you go in and you fill out a help desk ticket, IT will resolve your issue in a 48-hour period, and you are responsible for all of that. I have no power over any of that stuff. That being said, there is something that is called the Blackboard or the Okta dashboard timeout error. So your Okta dashboard is, well, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's the thing that opens up with the four icons, Blackboard, Office, and BannerWeb. It's when you log in, you see those little four squares. That's your Okta dashboard. If you leave that open for like an hour, you will time out of everything, but it won't tell you that you're timed out. So you'll go to click on Blackboard, and you'll start to get this error message, this error, that has this weird code of numbers, and you're like, what? I don't understand. Why can't I log in? What has happened is you've timed out of your Okta dashboard, but it didn't tell you. So you need to go to your Okta dashboard and sign back out and sign back in. Once you do that, that will take care of it, and that is usually the main issue with not being able to access your Blackboard and your account. Writing sample. I reserve the right to ask a writing sample in controlled conditions. And the student agrees to give it to me whenever I ask for it without any kind of complaining or whatever. The reason I ask for this is because comparison of writing samples taken in controlled settings are one of the ways whereby I can tell if a student has used AI. If the voice of the essay you submitted does not match the voice of your writing sample, either in the ballpark or even in a great way, they're different. If that's the case, then that's part of the evidence that I have for proving AI. So you agree to give me a writing sample. And when I say controlled conditions, I know you're an online student and you probably don't want to drive to a campus, but you are agreeing to produce a writing sample under controlled conditions if I ask for one, which means that if I ask you to come in and write something under controlled conditions, you are agreeing to do it. I don't usually do that. Most of the time, if I level the AI accusation, the student just says, "Yep, I did it. I'm sorry. I'll take the F and try again." But in the event that there's some question, or maybe I'm just asking you because I don't want to be wrong. Maybe I'm asking you because I think it's possible, but I'm not certain. So you shouldn't see it as an accusation. You shouldn't get defensive and stuff like that. You should just produce the writing sample and trust that if you do it the way you're supposed to, that it will exonerate you if you have not used AI. This is the world we're living in, folks. AI is changing everything, and it's school is no different. So that's what we got. Respondus browser. So there is one assignment that will be used with Respondus browser, which is an online proctoring device. That assignment is the logical fallacies SLO test. It's due sometime in the middle of the semester. If you take the If you're going to take it off campus, you need to have a computer with a webcam that works and a microphone that works. If you don't have that, you'll have to come into one of the libraries and take it in the library. But we are going to do one respondus assignment. And the next thing is the grade rounding policy. So my grade rounding policy, I do round up grades if a student gets within a point, but I will not do any more than that. I've had people, one time I had a student ask me to round their grade 3.6 points, which is the most insane ask anyone has ever. And when I asked why, it was because they were in competitive selection, which means they wanted me to give them 3.6 points so they could beat someone else out of the competitive selection program, which, that just doesn't make any sense, right? In so many different ways. And also, it's just not right. You don't want to beat somebody else out when you haven't done the work. So if you get within a point, I'll give it to you. If not, I'm not going to round it. Even if it's an 88.9, sorry. That's the policy and it's firm. I also think it's generous. So when I say sorry, I don't actually mean it. We don't have a textbook. Everything is going to be online, but you do need a computer with email, and you need Microsoft Word, which you have access to through the school. These are major and minor errors. The basic skills diagnostic. So the thing that is due this weekend is the basic skills diagnostic assessment. You must complete the basic skills diagnostic by Sunday. Please take it in a place with strong internet. Please do not close out of the test. I have so many problems with students saying, I need you to reopen this. So here's the thing. I can't reopen your attempt. If you get through that hour and 40-minute thing and you close it out or your internet gives out, the only thing I can do if it's before the due date is give you another attempt. And I'll only do that once. I'm not going to give students 2 and 3 attempts because they just don't have good internet. So if you're going to take that diagnostic assessment, you need to be in a place with good internet. Remember, you can always go to a campus. We have Wi-Fi here that's very strong if you're worried about it. If you get below a 70 on the basic skills, you have to take all of the assignments in the basic skills course folder, the mastery assignments. There are 15 modules. You must take them throughout the course of the semester to make sure you have the basic skills needed to pass the English 1101 curriculum. If you score higher than a 70, you don't have to take it, but you can. If you complete all of the modules and you get that 100 in that category, it will actually give you all 5 points in the basic skills category. Okay, so it's kind of like extra credit, but not really. All right, I'm skipping through some of this stuff. You can read it on your own. Writing assignments. So this is a great breakdown. Writing assignments are 60%. There are 3 of them. There are 1,000 words thereabouts, with the exception of the last one that's a little bit longer, 1,000 to 1,200. Those are 60% of the grade. They are 20% each. The learning activities, that's going to be your discussions and your reading quizzes, as well as the syllabus quiz and the plagiarism quiz. That's another 15%. The test and the pre-writing, that's going to be your major rhetorical strategies tests, your 3 essay outlines, and the writing diagnostic. That is going to be the test and pre-writing. That is 20%. And then 5% is the basic skills. Notice 5% is the basic skills. With as much headache as students tend to have over the basic skills, it's kind of silly because it's only worth 5%. So just remember that if you're freaking out about it. Also remember that in the early part of the semester, your grade is not necessarily a reflection of what it's going to be until the first essay is graded. I have a lot of students that you'll take a couple of quizzes and you'll bomb 1 or 2 of them, and your average will be really low, and you'll start freaking out and sending me emails. Try not to do that until the essay is in the computer, because you won't really know where you're at until then. This is the grade breakdown, which I'm sure you all know. Little note about withdrawal. I think the withdrawal date is October 25th this year. If you do it before the 25th, you can withdraw without an F. If you wait until after that, you will get an F. And you need to make sure that you are in good standing with financial aid in terms of how many credit hours you're taking before you withdraw, because a lot of times students will withdraw and then they'll end up having to pay back financial aid, which is not good. But it is there. It is a tool that you have if you ever want to use said tool. This bit on the ethical use of artificial intelligence, there is a way to use artificial intelligence ethically, but if you did, I would never be able to tell. So that's I won't go too much into that. You can use it to help you research things and help you come up with ideas, but you cannot generate content with it. That is against the rules, and if you do it, you'll fail the class. So here's the course schedule. All right, this is everything, and I'm going to try to go over it fairly quickly so that you know what's up. The course is broken down into 3 units. The first unit is, I call it the training wheels unit. That's not really what it is, but it's where we're teaching you about generally rhetorical strategies, generally MLA, generally essay structure, and then we move on to the argumentation unit, which is a little bit higher up on the scale in terms of collegiate writing and what you're expected to do. You're going to be doing research. You're going to be putting forth argumentative claims, that kind of thing. And then the final essay that I have for you is over George Orwell's 1984. So we're going to be doing a bit of reading, especially there at the end. There are also short readings, 4 short readings sprinkled throughout the first 2 units that we will read, and you'll watch the videos discussing. And then, of course, the third unit is over 1984, which is a novel. So there is some reading in this class that you may need to be aware of, but all of that stuff is available to you in PDF form. So this week, you're going to read the syllabus. You're going to watch this lecture video. You're going to watch the video on plagiarism and academic dishonesty and rhetorical strategies in the writing process. Then for next week, you're going to read Plato's Allegory of the Cave in the supplemental readings folder. And this Sunday, you have the basic skills diagnostic assessment, the syllabus quiz, and the plagiarism quiz. All of that is due this coming Sunday. Week 2, you have the Intro to Essay 1 and Essay Rubric video, the Basics of MLA Formatting lecture video, and the Parts of an Essay lecture video, as well as some thoughts on the Allegory of the Cave. For next week's reading, you're going to do 3-4 Process chapter from your textbook, 3-4 Compare and Contrast chapter from your textbook, and Shirley Jackson's short story, The Lottery, which is also in the supplemental readings folder. Then the weekend of week 2, you have the first discussion board, which is the student introduction. The discussion boards are all in a folder that you can find. You have the Allegory of the Cave quiz, and you have the writing diagnostic assignment. Remember, the writing diagnostic is not, if you do it, you'll get 100, as long as you don't use AI. Can you believe that I've had people use AI on the writing diagnostic? I mean, the most basic, it's basically asking you, like, why are you going to West Georgia Tech, and what are you going to do with your future? It's the definition of a softball question. So if you're using AI for that, you're probably not going to make it through the class, just letting you know. The next week is watch lecture video, the process strategy, watch lecture video, compare and contrast strategy. And all my lecture videos are in a folder as well under the lessons tab, lessons folder. Then watch essay 1 outline explanation, as well as some thoughts on Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. Then for homework, you're going to read 3-4 and 3-6 from the textbook and take the respective tests, 3-4 and 3-7. 3-4 and 3-6. That's reading for next week. But then 3-4 and 3-6 are due on the 15th. They are rhetorical strategies tests. They're about an hour long each. You get 2 attempts on each rhetorical strategies test. Then you're going to do discussion 2 for that Sunday, as well as the quiz over the lottery. For week 4, we start out with the cause and effect strategy and classification and division strategy lecture videos. It should say lecture video, but you get the gist. Then you're going to read, actually, you're not going to read the lottery for that week. That's a mistake, so I'll fix that. Obviously, that was the previous week when you had to take the quiz. But we are going to do, you're going to read the chapters, cause and effect, as well as all the stuff from grammar. And then week 4 is kind of a doozy in terms of stuff that's due. You're going to take all 4 grammar quizzes. You're going to do the 3rd discussion. You're going to do the 2 rhetorical strategies tests remaining in the essay outline. So if you need to get a jump on week 4, please do. I will send you a message on week 4 being like, hey, this week is tough. And unfortunately, the reason that this is that one of the weeks had to be tough because our semesters got about a week shorter. So that is an issue. Okay, so this one, I'm noticing the errors here, but that's okay. They're not consequential. This, by the way, this column on the right here is where you should be on the basic skills if you get below a 70. But those due dates are not firm. You can have the whole semester to work on the basic skills. It's just you should pace yourself along this calendar if you don't want it to be overwhelming. Please ignore these 2 things that are over here in this column. I'm not sure. I'll fix that the next time I edit the syllabus. But it's not consequential. The week 5 is you're going to be writing your essay, and you can seek out help from me. I'll do my best to make myself available to my online students during this time. We can use WebEx, phone, email. You can also use Upswing Tutoring or visit any of the on-campus tutoring labs for extra help. But I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of assignments and stuff that week. You're just going to be writing that first essay. The essay is due that Sunday. Then the next week, we're going to watch the lecture videos on Intro to Persuasion, Argumentation, and Exemplification, as well as the Persuasion Strategy. We're going to watch the Intro to Lecture 2 lecture video, as well as some thoughts on Letter from Birmingham Jail. Then for that week's homework, you're going to read Chapter 3.8, Persuasion, and do the test, which is much shorter, by the way, than the others, as well as the test over MLK's Letter from Birmingham Jail. That's kind of an easy week by comparison. That's just the way it worked out. Week 7, you're going to watch the lecture video over the crowd credibility test and using Galileo. And you're going to read 3.9 exemplification and take the test that Sunday, as well as the 4th discussion. When you come into week 8, you're going to watch the lecture video on poultry for POTUS, which is a funny thing that I wrote as a satire, but also to show you how to structure an argumentative essay. Then you're going to watch the lecture video explaining the Essay 2 outline template, and then the lecture video on logical fallacies. The logical fallacies assignment is an SLO. It is designed to be hard. They wanted me to make it hard. So if it seems hard, that's why. It does not count very much. It counts less than 2% of the final grade. You'll watch the video and you'll take the SLO that weekend. You'll also read Chapter 310 Argumentation. And for the week after, you'll read Jonathan Swift's Modest Proposal, take the 310 test Argumentation and the Logical Fallacies test at the end of week 8. Week 9, we're going to start with some thoughts on a Modest Proposal lecture video. And you're going to do discussion 5, reflecting on the argumentation strategy, as well as the quiz for that. And then Sunday is the Essay 2 outline as well. We're going to start the lecture video for the Intro to Orwell, but this will be another essay work week, week 10. So you can contact me if you want or use tutoring services. And then you will read for the following week, 1984, Book 1. 1984 is a novel by George Orwell. It's in the supplemental readings folder as a PDF. I also have audiobooks, videos on YouTube that you can use. It's broken into 3 books. It is one book, but it is broken into 3 parts that are called books within the book. It's kind of confusing, but it's really not when you think about it. So you'll read the first book of 1984 for week 11. And then Essay 2 is due week 10 on the 3rd, 11:59 through the safe assign. Then we're going to come in, we're going to watch the 1984 Book 1 lecture video, the Intro to Essay 3. You're going to read the Book 2 for the next week, and you're going to do, for Sunday, you're going to do the 6th discussion board, Create Your Own Dystopia, and the 1984 quiz. I missed discussion 5 up here, but that's due on week 9. Discussion 6 is due on week 11, along with the quiz for Book 1. And then for week 12, you're going to watch 1984 lecture video book 2. Lecture video over Book 2. Then the video explaining the Essay 3 outline template. You're going to read Book 3 for the next week and take the quiz for Book 2 on Sunday, the 17th of November. Then you're going to watch Book 3 lecture video. You're going to have the Essay 3 outline due on week 13. Discussion 7, which is connecting 1984 in today's world. And the final quiz for that is going to be on Sunday. That'll be the last reading quiz. 1984 is a dystopian novel about totalitarianism through technology. Basically, it's very relevant to today's world. So I have assigned this novel for you for a reason, even if it seems boring. Week 14 is Thanksgiving break. We're not going to have any class or assignments. I may be here on campus. I think we have Thursday and Friday off, but Monday and Wednesday, if we want to take off, we're supposed to take leave. I think I'll probably be here or just work through that time. So if you need to contact me during that time for some essay help or whatever, we can make arrangements. And then the final week is when we get back, and all we got there is Essay 3 in the final discussion. And that's December the 2nd through December the 4th. So that Monday through Wednesday is the final exam week. It's more like a half week. After Wednesday on the 4th, your Blackboard access will be terminated. You won't be able to see anything. So I tend to put comments, extensive comments on your essays for you to improve for Essay 1 and 2. But for Essay 3, I won't put comments because you won't be able to read them. That does mean that I tend to get Essay 3 graded way faster, because if I didn't have to put comments on these things so that you could grow as a writer, I could grade an essay in under 5 minutes. But because I have to put those comments on there, it takes me a little bit longer. Also, please keep in mind, if you're waiting for essays to be graded or you're waiting for essay comments, Please keep in mind that I do have 7 classes this semester. I may even have as many as 8 once mini semester rolls around. So that's a lot of students. That's a lot of essays. Your patience is appreciated. Please be advised at any given time. I do not slack at my job. I work all the time. I work from home. I work on weekends to grade. I'm working as fast as I can to get those comments on there so that you'll have them before the next essay is due and you can use those comments to improve. That's why I do them. So please make sure that you read them. Okay, so that's the schedule. That's the general policies. Hopefully, you feel pretty good about this semester. Remember, if there's anything that you are confused about or you would like me to clarify, you can reach me at my email, which is brian.murphy, Brian with a Y. You can see it right here, brian.murphy@westcatech.edu. Shoot me an email, tell me your name and your course CRN, and ask away. Ask any question you may have. I'm happy to answer it. And if I ever don't respond to you, keep in mind with this, as many students as I have, sometimes emails do get buried. So if after a couple of days you haven't heard back, just politely respond and say, hey, could you answer this? One thing I will say, if the email you're sending me is asking me to suspend the syllabus policy on your behalf, I'm going to send you a pre-written response that says no. And that's not to be a jerk. It's just to say that everyone's held to the same standards. Everyone's held to the same policies. There's no condition that you may be in that is so radically different that you deserve different or preferential treatment unless you have a plan through the accessibility services here on campus. If you have that, of course, I can make accommodations for you. But without that, everyone's held to the same standard. So if you send me an email with a sob story explaining how you forgot about something and can I please open it up, I'm going to send you a pre-written response that says no. Okay. And so we could save ourselves a lot of trouble. We could save me a lot of emails that I don't need flooding my inbox if you just realize that and that these policies are firm. And I think that is ultimately fair. So hopefully you feel the same way. If you would please let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have an excellent semester. I'm here to help. Even though this is an online class, I do try to be as present as I can under those conditions. So hopefully you will reach out and good luck to you.